Let's go from Iowa to New York State. Peter is waiting there, and thank you for calling, Peter.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, we are actually, it's very linked to the last question, and we're using a manure slurry system, but we're actually broadcasting it by, we're just broadcasting it on the fields. And I know that we're having a lot of volatilization loss from the way we broadcast it, because the people that drive by in their cars are holding their noses, so I know we're getting a lot of ammonia going out.
Like
there.
I was right there here about 10 minutes ago, Peter. I don't know if you saw that or not. But so, bottom line question is it relates to how you're applying the liquid manure. Is that what you're leading to?
Yeah. We're just using a broadcast system, like I think a lot of the farmers up here do, and we spent a lot of money on our slurry store systems to, so we can save nitrogen, and I just think we're losing a lot of that nitrogen when we're spreading it. Now we try to plow it down as fast as we can, but are we going to save any of the nitrogen from the time we spread it till the time we plow it down?
That's a great question, Peter. Jerry, I don't know if you get that question a lot, but he's in the course of trying to be economical and save in doing what Peter and others are doing with their liquid fertilizer and their slurry systems. Address that for us.
Because as you apply manure to the surface, you end up with a lot of volatilization losses, and it depends on which study you look at, but it could be almost half of the nitrogen could go out as ammonia. Quickly? Quickly. And that's why the rule is there, and Peter mentioned it, that they try to incorporate it as quickly as possible to get a soil covering. Well, again, if you add something like AGROTAIN Plus to the manure just before it goes on, is going to limit that volatilization process. So it'll give them an extra day, maybe 2 days, to get that incorporated before the losses really begin to occur. And you in addition to have the smell that goes with manure anyway,
sure.
But it's the real loss is the nitrogen, which you often don't smell, but it has a tremendous impact on crop performance.
It's the urea that that's making you can't account for or have any way of knowing how much nitrogen you're actually losing. Maybe 50%. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you literally look at that a lot. There's a lot of volatilization loss that goes off very quickly.
Great questions. Peter, did that answer your question? I see you're still up there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. And is this, again, part of research that the USDA has incorporated into all different sorts of applications or ways of reducing gases and emissions and nitrogen oxide?
We're trying to take a very large look at nitrous oxide emissions as well as even ammonia emissions, because as we said before, any loss is something that doesn't go into the plant. And so we've spent things looking at nitrous oxide emissions from a manure system, nitrous oxide from commercial fertilizer systems. But what's kind of unique about our research is we try to look at that on a whole yearly basis. It's not just that short window after application, but to say, if we put it on here, then what's going to come off maybe 4 months later or 3 months later, or even a year later if you follow that whole system all the way through.
Yeah. Is this time of year for you gentlemen and AGROTAIN as a company and Jerry as a researcher, this generally we're looking at the bulk of the country looking at the harvest time of the year. Is this where your payoff is to see if your research is kind of what you thought might happen with the weather conditions we had in the east and the west during the summer? Is this a time of the year you kind of look forward to see what the real payoff is when the combine rolls through?
Well, yeah, you're always curious about what yields are going to be, and saying, well, is this going to lead to more yield? And as I said earlier, one of our objectives is that pathway to yield. How did it get there? But it's also to saying, what did we achieve in terms of nitrogen use efficiency? Were we able to really capture that nitrogen and put it into that plant that we could see it in yield?
Very good. 866-547-9696. You see there the telephone number for you to join us live here on RFD-TV with our friends from AGROTAIN. Ray, you'll be up first. We're going to take another quick break and come right back. You're watching RFD-TV, Rural America's most important network.